Sir, do we get a win this time? Joining me today,
Dude, I laughed. I just don't know what to do.
A one-man army out to finish his own private war. What you call hell, he calls home. Stallone is back as Rambo.
I'm coming to get you.
First Blood Part Two.
joining me today is four-time returning guest Angry Dane.
Hey.
And seven-time recurring guest Dr. Dare.
Hello.
In our part two of our
Part two of our farts.
in part two of our five-part Rambo series breakdown. Welcome, gentlemen.
That's short for five-part.
Fart.
It's the fart series of Rambo.
I really didn't want to have that in there, but it might stay. The description for this film is Rambo returns to the jungles of Vietnam on a mission to infiltrate an enemy base camp and rescue the American POWs still held captive there. Which I think that's kind of a crappy description because they're not trying to rescue POWs, right?
Well, that's the ruse at the beginning that the colonel gives them, right?
I know, but what was the real mission? Was to
reconnaissance,
right? Just pictures. Directed by George P. Cosmatos.
Do you ever find out the name pronunciation before?
Where am I going to find George P. Cosmatos's?
I would bet you
YouTube?
$5 that name is on YouTube with the pronunciation.
All right. You're right. I could. I apologize. I'm
Lily
going to do
Cosmotos.
Cosmotos.
I'd like to apologize for Chris listeners. He'll get it together.
All right. So the director, do you guys know what he directed other than Rambo, which is a crazy title, Rambo: First Blood Part 2. We're going to get into why some of the background of the naming, but George also directed Cobra, which is a Stallone vehicle.
Oh, is that the one where he has the sunglasses on the whole time?
Yes.
Okay.
And the crazy
that sounds awesome.
gun with the
laser scope, right?
Scope. Yeah. It's insane.
Dang it.
There's a scene where there's some dude in anyway, we don't need to talk about that. Some dude in a grocery store and he takes him out. It's awesome.
It's great. And Tombstone.
Oh, wow.
And then I think this must have been in the Hollywood times when you could get blacklisted because his career got the kibosh. Because after 1997, there's nothing. And he lived until 2005.
He's bagging groceries now?
I mean, well, he's dead, but because I just said he lived until he was 2005. But he didn't do anything after 1997, so... Top billed stars Sylvester Stallone, Richard Crenna, Charles Napier, and featuring Martin Kove, who is John Kreese in Karate Kid fame.
They have George Chung as well.
I don't know who George Chung is.
He's the guy that, well...
You can't describe him the way you described him when we watched it.
No.
Is he the bad guy in the boat?
No, he's the guy who gets blown up by the single arrow.
Oh, that's
the waterfall, right?
George Chung.
Yeah, so he's in a ton of stuff. I was just looking it up, but pretty cool.
Does he get blown up in a lot of his films?
He's always the disposable bad guy. He was in Austin Powers. Literally, he's made a role of doing what he did in Rambo.
That's interesting. IMDb rating, runtime of 1 hour, 36 minutes, rated R. Genre on Rotten Tomatoes says adventure, action.
Thank you.
I feel like it should be action adventure.
This is from Rotten Tomatoes?
Rotten Tomatoes genre. I don't know why that fascinates me, but I have to say it every podcast.
Rambo 2 may be more adventure than action, not Rambo 3.
Yeah.
Right? This one might have more just him trekking through the jungle.
Okay.
Falling out of the plane in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, you
Yeah.
got it right then, I guess.
Yeah.
IMDb gives it a rating of 6.5 out of 10 out of 154,000 reviews. Rotten Tomatoes, critics give it 35%, and audience gives it at 60%, compared to First Blood, which was 85% from both critics and
Yeah.
That's fair.
normal people. Box office haul. Okay, I got conflicting reports here. 25.5 or $44 million, but made a box office worldwide haul of $300.4 million.
That's a lot.
Rambo, First Blood Part 2.
What does that include? Does that include toys and merchandising, or is that just
No,
box
It's just
that's-
ticket
office?
sales.
That's just
at
ticket
the
sales.
theater, right?
Theater
Oh, wow.
around the world.
It seems like a lot.
How much?
$300.4 million.
No wonder they made a third one and a fourth one.
And it probably
Well,
made
fifth one.
Yeah.
more than that after the fact,
Yeah.
in like syndication and having it on TV and stuff. Because I feel like this one and Rambo 3 was played a lot on TV.
Oh yeah.
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 So where to watch this one right now? If you have the Showtime add-on for Xfinity, which is Comcast, or Hulu or Amazon Prime, if you have the Showtime add-on plug-in, you can stream it right now for free. Otherwise, you need to rent it, or better yet, just buy the 4K box set.
Yeah.
Or catch it on some random cable channel that plays old action movies.
Yeah. TNT.
Yeah.
Because I think they're
Twice a
still
week on
playing
TNT.
it.
They're still playing it. All right. Should you or shouldn't you watch this? 5 reasons why you should watch Rambo.
Do we each give 5, or you're going to start with 1?
I'm going to give 5, and you can chime in whenever you want. Now, should or shouldn't you watch this? The 5 reasons why you should watch Rambo, First Blood Part 2 is number
It's
1.
like the new Borat movie, dude. I'm serious.
It's so long. Number 1, if you like Sly Stallone. Number 2, if you want to play a drinking game of how many Latin people with Vietnamese makeup on them, this is for you. Number 3, if you want to finally see Rambo kill some enemies, this is for you. And number 4, if you want to see the character of Rambo emerge, because I feel like this is a caricature of his character emerges in this film. And number 5, spoiler alert, but if you want to see his signature bow and arrow, Rambo kill,
yeah.
topped off with an explosive tip.
That might be
This
the
is
best
it.
reason. The explosive tip arrows and that bow is the coolest. It's so good.
And this goes without saying at this point, if you want to go see the film, if you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen Rambo 2, then go see it. But now we're
there's
going to
no
spoil.
way to even spoil this. There's explosions and death to minorities. That's what Rambo is about.
And technology. He hates technology. He doesn't need it.
Yeah, he hates it. Okay, I was like, tech.
He
What?
hates tech, yeah.
He's the anti-James Bond.
So the video, here's a crazy stat about Rambo 2. The actual video cassette sold 425,000 units, a record for a tape sold retail sale, and that was at $79.95 retail price.
What?
Yeah, remember back when you bought a VHS tape, it was like $80.
No.
I'm thinking like 30.
I remember.
Yeah, $30, $25.
$80?
But I was a kid.
$80.
It could have cost $1 million. I didn't know how
Right.
much anything.
Yeah,
Wait, what year?
1980. I mean, it came out in 1985, so I'm assuming a year or two later is when the tape came out. So 86, 87.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They all cost $80, Chris?
Adjusting for inflation. Like what? That's even more.
That's a lot of monies.
Yeah.
This-
Something you could accidentally tape over, too.
Yeah, well, unless they had that weird little plastic tip thing.
The tab that
The
made
little-
it so it wouldn't record.
Yeah, if that was removed, that's
sketchy.
That's
This
sketchy.
is now some kid's Christmas skit. The worst.
So this was nominated both for an Academy Award as well as multiple Razzies. Can you guess what Academy Award it was nominated for?
Special effects.
Nope. Best sound mixing.
Oh.
And this was the only Rambo film that has ever been nominated for an Academy Award. Was Rambo 2.
Rambo 2?
That's it.
I didn't mean special effects. I meant like explosions. What's that? Pyrotechnics? Is there an award for that sort of
there's
stuff?
an award for that.
I don't know. There should be.
There was lots of explosions.
Yes.
So,
What were the Razzies?
Razzie's Worst Picture.
Wow.
Worst Actor, Sylvester Stallone. Worst
Harsh.
Screenplay, and this is gnarly. Guess who wrote the first draft of this screenplay for Rambo 2?
I don't know.
James Cameron.
What?
Yeah, and both James and Sly Stallone won for worst screenplay. And apparently he wrote, so it says James Cameron claims that he only wrote the first draft of the script and that Sly Stallone made many changes to it, which it's you can tell. Cameron had originally paired Rambo with a humorous sidekick and had fleshed out the prisoners of war. Yeah, with elaborate backstories that were to be revealed over the course of the film. However, Stallone reportedly didn't like that the sidekick got all the cool dialogue and also scrapped most of the POW's backstory to the point where Cameron claimed that they might as well have gotten to the jungle to pick up a six-pack of beer.
This is the best stats you've ever recited.
When the film was released, the political context of the movie was considered controversial, with many feeling that the Vietnam War was altered to look and sound heroic. Cameron commented that he only wrote the action and that Sly wrote the politics.
It didn't make Vietnam seem heroic, did it? I mean, he has the monologue at the end about how the government hates him and that it was pointless and that he just wants the government to love him as much as he loves the country.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's glorifying the Vietnam War as much as it's sympathizing with the vets.
And, sympathizing with the vets for sure. And then the whole plot is that the higher-ups within the government don't care about it, and then this is all political, which is all true, and everyone thinks is bullshit.
I feel like the government was more on trial than how the soldiers fought the war.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it the Blu-ray that had that like news report about the movie,
Yes.
and it talked a little bit about prisoners of war and that
Yes.
whole issue?
Yes.
So check out the Blu-ray for that.
Yes.
Interesting.
We forgot the last Razzie, Worst Original Song by Frank Stallone,
Oh no.
which I'm going to play a clip of in this podcast. Peace in Our Life was the title of that song.
We gave our hearts, we gave it all. Flame in the fire burns forevermore. Sorrow in believing, honor and truth, raced by us blindly, wrapped around our youth. Peace in our life, remember the call. Oh, a tear for my brothers, think of them all. Home of the brave, we'll never fall. The strength of our nation belongs to us all.
Can you imagine the Frank coming up to Sly? Hey, is it cool if I write a song for your movie? It's going to be great.
I want you to do the rest of the podcast like that.
It seemed like a song that should have been, I mean, it was horrible, but it didn't fit the movie at all. It felt like it should have been at the end of Harry and the Hendersons or something like that.
Yes.
I mean, any other movie. The most violent movie ever is bookended by this, I don't know. It was
seemed
terrible.
like a family film.
And the screenplay
credits.
was terrible too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
the dialogue.
I
was
love the
pretty
movie,
bad.
but the whole dialogue.
It wasn't a
was
great
all bad.
movie. It was fun to watch, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I was doing the research, it's on these lists of like top 10 or top 100 bad movies that are good to watch.
Yeah.
That's where this one
Because
lies.
it's Rambo. If you put any other character in here, the movie is dead.
Yeah.
But because of all the other movies that have been made after and obviously the one before, it works. It's still around and it's still worth watching.
So someone's comment earlier, like the Vietnam vets, at the time of the filming in 1985, there were close to 2,500 Vietnam vets still missing in action while this movie came out.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
In Vietnam?
In Vietnam, still missing in action.
I mean,
some of those had already died, but they didn't know. They had no... Yeah. That sucks.
I ran into one of them when I was in Micronesia a few years back. He just never went home.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
He got off the plane in Guam and he's been hanging out in Micronesia ever since.
Serious?
It's a long road when you're alone.
Thanks, Frank.
No, that was from the first. That's the song from the first film. The film was shot between June and August of 1984 and was shot on location in the state of Guerrero, Mexico, and Thailand. During filming, special effects man Cliff P. Wenger
How do you
Jr.
spell that, Chris?
Wenger. Wenger Jr.
Wenger.
was accidentally killed by one of the film's explosives. There's a death.
There's a death. Man, we just got done with 2021. I'm not worried about that guy. Or 2020. I'm not worried about him.
To prepare for this role, Sylvester Stallone did 8 months of training for 4 hours a day. He also took SWAT combat, archery, and survival courses.
He was ridiculous in this. His physicality was the best part of the movie, I think.
I mean, he goes for it. Like when he was in the muck, the water, and his arms are like tied up and he's like halfway submerged in the like muck pit. I don't care if that was kind of clean water. That's crazy for even just an actor to endure. Right? He looked miserable.
Looked gross.
Yeah, it looked gross. I mean, they even had that establishing shot of the pig like pen and the water running down from there directly into him.
Yes.
Like almost by his mouth.
Yep.
It was rough.
And then they electrocuted him.
Oh, when do we get to talk about electrocuting the German Russian?
Oh my gosh. The Russians are not Russians. They're like Germans. They sound German.
It's so
I think
weird.
that one actor with the gray hair, he's like on, I think, Beverly Hills Cop. He's the bad. He has like a German accent. I think he's German. I think he's a German actor.
Yeah.
All of the Russian accents are played by people from different countries. None of them are Russia in all of the movies.
And then my previous comment mixed in with the Hispanic Mexicans from Mexico are doubling as Asians.
If you look, you mentioned that drinking game. Chris is not joking, viewers. It is hilarious when you look close at some of the Asian backdrop. It's like, this is for sure in Mexico.
Listen to this. The crew had a hard time finding Asian extras in Mexico. They eventually recruited enough by visiting local Chinese restaurants.
Very creative.
They're just going to get food there, and then, hey, you are Asian. Come be in our Asian film.
Oh my gosh.
Talking about the title. Okay, this title is crazy. The original title was First Blood 2. But Sylvester Stallone decided he wanted the series to be named after the lead character like his Rocky series, so he retitled it Rambo: First Blood Part 2 so he could rename the third film Rambo III instead of First Blood 3.
So he knew this was going to sound dumb.
Yeah.
But in preparation for the third one,
he didn't think he could just go straight for Rambo 2.
Yeah, well that's what I think he should have done. And there was an issue of Fangoria magazine indicated that the first draft of the script was simply titled Second Blood, which sounds awesome, kind of. So my question to you guys is, if we collectively were to rename this film, what would we rename it? Because I hate the title.
Rambo 2.
Rambo 2.
I like Second Blood.
Second Blood's pretty dope.
Definitely, at least they could have done Rambo Second Blood.
Yeah,
as like a subtitle.
yes. Rambo
But
Second
First Blood. The worst part is First Blood Part 2.
I'm serious. It's like the Borat movie. Subsequent movie film,
For glorious make benefit country of...
Well, yeah, Part Deux. Like it sounds ridiculous, but I think Ryan hit it. Rambo Second Blood.
I like that. It
Three
sounds
three
dope.
words. That works.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
And it has a colon, which is great.
Yeah, add a colon in there.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention, you guys know who Cameron wanted to play as the sidekick, or they were trying to get?
Oh, the humor, the
kid from Indiana Jones.
No.
comedy relief guy.
Was he older? George Lopez.
John Travolta was going to be cast as the sidekick.
What year was this? Like, where was Travolta at this point in his career?
He's too famous. That would have been terrible. He would have completely overshadowed. No wonder he was mad. Stallone was mad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's just a weird pick for a humorous sidekick, period.
He's not a sidekick? Like, that's weird casting.
Was he was not fat in 85, right? He would have.
No.
He could have done it.
It was like 10 years before the like Pulp Fiction version.
Yeah, where his face started
He's
to get...
coming out of his Staying Alive.
Yeah, he was just done with those disco movies, right?
Yeah.
That would have been a terrible cast. Why did Stallone have so much power over the script and over what was happening?
I think
Did he
because-
produce it?
Well, he had Rambo. No, not Rambo. He had Rocky III come out that year. He was like, he had
top.
He had
It's a big deal.
He was peaking in the 80s. I mean, between him, Arnold, and who else? Those guys, really. Maybe Bruce Willis. Those three were like commanding the 80s.
What about who's the dude from Cobra Kai? The Cobra Kai guy. He was in the movie. John Kreese.
I mean, that's his
top of his game, man.
I mean, that's his name from Cobra Kai, or well,
the character
name, but
character name.
his name is Martin Cove.
He literally is there just to be portrayed as a dick. I mean, he's just there so the writers could shit on him.
It's the same universe, I think, as Karate Kid.
Isn't it funny?
This is just earlier before he opened the dojo or something like that.
Well, and it's funny because
it's the same cinematic universe.
Asian or Mr. Miyagi's the one that defeats him, and it's similar because he's.
I think I saw Pat Morita in the background in some of those shots.
But Pat Morita was a Vietnam vet.
Oh, it's the same universe.
Exactly.
It's the same universe.
Wait.
Pat Morita was a Vietnam vet. He was an American.
Are you talking about Mr. Miyagi or Pat Morita in real life?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Miyagi, not Pat Morita.
I thought Mr. Miyagi was in World War II, stationed in Europe.
That seems really specific, but I can't weigh in. I don't know.
Man, I maybe you're right. I have great research.
He was like an old man in the 80s, so I don't know.
All right, you're probably right. Hey, tweet us and tell us if we're right or not.
Somebody
what war
figure
did
this
Mr.
out.
Miyagi fight in?
Yeah.
It was World War II.
World War II. All right. What's his... his drinking song?
No.
All right. Sorry. I'll stop.
No, just keep doing the whole thing in Stallone's voice.
You're like, Seth's my, hey, you can't stop. Shh. Despite the anti-government stance in the film, President Ronald Reagan was a big fan of this film.
I think a lot of my... never mind.
No, let's hear this, Ryan. A lot of your what?
I think a lot of people who would definitely not be anti-government really loved this film. Like, I don't think a lot of people who love this film understood all of these films.
Yeah, no, yes, exactly.
Like the people at the Capitol on Wednesday, I bet a lot of them
Love this film.
Love this film.
And don't understand that it's condemning
the
them.
message.
Yes.
It turns out after 2020, most of America is that way.
In fact, there was a flag at the Capitol with Trump's face superimposed on the poster of Rambo.
I swear to you, it was either Rambo or Commando. But either way, it's crazy.
It's kind of super hot.
Yeah. It's
Trump's face.
On a muscular body.
It was hot in here.
Imagine how much sexier Arnold Schwarzenegger would look if he had Trump's face.
Oompa Loompa face with a comb over.
I don't think
gosh.
I don't think the shape of Trump's face could fit on.
Where's the transition from the neck?
The neck just connects to his earlobes, dude.
It's just a skin trunk from his chin down to his neck.
Yep.
His torso.
Trump's nose comes out where Arnold's Adam's apple would be.
All right, where do you think Sly Stallone ranks his own Rambo films? This one in the. Well, he was asked this question when Rambo 5 hadn't come out yet. So, of the 4, where do you think this one ranks?
I'm gonna guess that because he was so involved, he loves it.
It feels like this is why I feel like I'm a good test taker. Maybe you're tricking us, but I'm gonna say this one because it seems like the reason it would be trivia.
You're both wrong.
Oh,
He disliked
bamboozled.
it. He disliked it the most. He ranked it number 4
I
out of
agree.
wow. Yeah,
I haven't seen the last 2, but so far I agree with him.
I really enjoyed watching it. It was a fun watch, but
Yeah.
it's easily the worst Rambo film.
If you hadn't grown up with it, would it be a fun watch, or is it more like nostalgia? And
I don't
stuff
remember
like that?
it a ton. I mean,
it was 1985.
if
so
I watched
was like,
it with my wife, it would suck.
How old would you have been?
You would have been like
2
a
years
baby,
old.
right?
Yeah, I was like 6.
Yeah,
And I never saw it. I just saw it on TV. I don't even think I saw the whole thing. I think I saw part of it on TV once.
It's sometimes hard to be objective in this podcast because I could watch a lot of really terrible shit with you guys, and I think we would enjoy it, which is problematic when we're trying to give an objective review. It's the worst one, but it was still fun.
Bad, but it's Rambo. If you're looking at that bookended 5 films, you're gonna want to watch this one.
Yeah,
it's like
The
Star Wars
necklace-
Episode 1. You just have to watch it.
Yeah,
It
not great,
made the
but-
3rd episode better, or the 3rd Rambo better. He gives the kid the necklace. He's got the bandana or the
Yeah,
It created Rambo. It did a good job of creating Rambo.
Because he wasn't Rambo in First Blood.
No.
That was a totally different movie.
That was a poor, suffering vet who had severe
That was a
mental
dramatic-
issues.
yeah.
This is a guy who is, and
he's
a caricature of himself. Chris
Yeah,
said that.
Stallone wasn't messing around with the script in the first one either. This one,
No,
he
based
for
on a
sure-
book.
Yeah, there was a lot more source material and.
Who wrote who wrote or finished off Game of Thrones? Because that's who did this Rambo.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, oh, we're almost done. All right, we just got to do the next movie. And then they just...
All right, so movie 1, First Blood, had 1 death, 1 kill count. And despite this being an action film, when do you think the first death happens in First Blood Part 2?
How many minutes in?
What minute mark do you think the first kill happens? And then we're going to go into
30 seconds.
No.
Between 15 and 20 minutes?
No. 34 minutes. Over a third of the film is over before someone dies.
In Rambo 2?
In Rambo First Blood Part 2. : There's a colon in there.
Rambo : First Blood - Part 2.
So, in a first for Should You Watch This, this category is called the kill count and kiss count of Rambo : First Blood Part 2. What do you think the kiss count is?
1.
Did Brian Dennehy kiss him in the first one?
I wish
when they were hosing him off at the beginning?
Maybe that was the deleted scene where he's
Not on the lips.
going to dinner with him and he gives him a kiss.
Wait, he made Rambo kiss him, right?
I think that
It's more of a peck, like after he's paid for his meal in the deleted scene.
Oh,
he kisses him as he's leaving the town.
It's like on the top of his head,
ending.
like he's kissing a child.
Yeah,
right?
maybe on his head, like right on his head. I can only say that because he's such an a-hole.
Yes.
I would never say that to any of our veterans. But okay, the only Rambo,
unless they're being assholes.
True. And I guess this is a spoiler, but the only Rambo film in which Rambo shares an intimate kiss is this movie.
Really?
But in First Blood Part 2, and we kind of talked about this briefly in 1982, there was a flashback scene of Rambo at a Saigon bar kissing and making love to a Vietnamese prostitute. But those scenes never made it into the final cut. So this is
unfortunate.
This is the only kiss count of Rambo.
And it was the craziest part.
Can we spoil it now?
Yeah, oh yeah, we're in this.
She just
we're in
dies,
the spoilers.
man.
Like immediately after they kiss.
You take me with you.
Oh, that was
good choice,
so
Rambo. You make good choice. I'll go get us some firewood. Yeah.
Dead right away.
Dead.
And she's like, remember, always do remember me.
I know. Yes.
And then he
you
makes her
forget me?
dress into the iconic headband.
Yes.
The red headband.
And did he take the necklace or did she already give it to him? She gave it to him.
He took it off.
Oh,
he took
man.
it off her.
He took it off of her corpse.
Her corpse. Her red.
She didn't
red
deserve
on red
that.
corpse.
She didn't deserve that. Although she did play a prostitute in this movie.
That's
She
true.
snuck in as a prostitute.
That's true.
Yeah, she played a woman playing a prostitute.
Which Rambo in the first film may have entertained.
Yeah, I think so. I think that she knew Rambo from before.
That's true. There's so many layers to Rambo.
Yeah.
We're just peeling them back.
People just don't understand the depth of Rambo : First Blood - Part 2.
All right, here are the criteria for kills, the kill count of Rambo 2. Number 1, Rambo must be the one who causes the death. 2, the death must be confirmed with video evidence. 3, Rambo must cause certain death, not just serious injury. They have to die. And
They can't be bleeding out.
Yeah, like in the first film, he shot a couple dudes in the leg. Pretty sure we see them on camera later.
Remember when he runs the cop car off the road in the first one and it flips over? We don't know if they die or whatever, so that doesn't count, right?
That doesn't count.
But if they were in the car and it blew up?
It's pretty certain that they had been deceased.
Okay.
I don't know. People survive things.
And then the last one, the death must occur in the movies. Kills from video games or comic books are not included. Okay?
They're not canon?
Man, that is a caveat for the real nerds.
I know.
Jeez.
So this is what I found. What do you think the kill count is? I found, this is no joke, I found 3 different sites and 3 different numbers.
Are you talking about
how many
just
times
in First Blood -2 part Rambo 3?
Yeah.
The second.
How many times did Rambo kill humans in this movie?
37 humans.
23 humans.
Yeah, mine seems high.
You guys are so far off. So here's the lowest number that I found, 69.
Such a child. Let's just go with that
74 or 75. Those are the 3 numbers I've gotten.
Oh, wow.
Wikipedia was the lowest.
I'm forgetting some scenes where he killed a whole bunch of people really quickly, like the boat. Didn't he just waste everyone on the boat?
Didn't he shoot a bazooka at him?
Yeah. He blew up a helicopter.
Yeah, he found one in the glove compartment.
Dude, yes. Yes. And then the helicopter, he landed it and then pretended
Oh, he played possum.
Yeah, exactly.
And then blew it up.
So that equates.
I wonder if Stallone he came up with that for sure.
1,000%.
You know what? I'll just watch this.
I don't know.
did you
Maybe.
guys-
Do you think that's a James Cameron?
cool is if he pretends he's asleep or dead or whatever, and then he kills him.
And we get this nice close up of my face through the broken glass.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
So that equates
good.
to number of kills per minute of 0.72 per minute of deaths.
And he didn't kill any until the 34th minute?
So there was a lot of deaths after the
What's
34
the
minute.
average if you take out those 34 once it begins?
I didn't do that math.
I bet he's got a KDR over 1.
KDR,
You know
that's
what I'm
true.
saying?
This is a KDR.
It's a KDR. Actually, his KDR is 69. He's still living.
That's true. It's 69.
It's 70.
It's 70.
He's got a KDR of 70 post.
This is a gamer, nerding out gamer.
Yeah.
Specific information. All right. Any beefs do you have with this film? I think you guys have kind of already talked about your specific beefs, but anything you want to talk about, or any scenes that you want to bring up, like what was your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part easily is the scene with the bed that's the box spring that's been turned into the torture thing.
Oh yeah,
and the giant I don't know, this is bad, but the giant Russian Jew, who comes out. He's super imposing. He does nothing.
Oh,
Stallone's getting tased,
right.
and then Stallone throws him in and cranks it up, and he just gets fried. It was the most pointless character. He's the worst, but it was my favorite part. I loved it.
The torture, there's a lot. I mean, they take advantage of torture scenes in Rambo.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, there's more to come in the series.
Yeah, they're not following the accords.
What about you, Ryan?
That part was
beefs?
great. I like the same part. The lightning flash, and then he grips the microphone as he's doing Lone Wolf to the wolf den.
Yes.
And, I'm coming for you.
I'll go for you, and then just smashes a guy.
Yeah, he hits someone in the face with the receiver, and then
that scene may be where the real genesis of Rambo is, because it carries on him saying that over the radio.
Yeah.
He does it again.
And
he escapes. He does it in Rambo 3.
Yeah.
It kind of
he steps it up a
establishes
notch
him
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole point of Rambo is I'm going to get caught and then I'm going to escape. But before I do, I'm going to tell my nemesis, to F off.
It's almost like I don't care about all this stuff that's going on. My mission here is not to get the POWs. It's to come back and murder you.
Yes.
The U.S. government.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
I
You
think
know what
that's
my
my
favorite
favorite part.
scene is? You guys didn't say it, which is fine. The scene where I think it's kind of dark, it's super rainy, and you see the Vietnamese guy walking across camera, and then all of a sudden you see an eyelid open in the mud behind him in the
He's
wall
up against
of
the
mud,
tree.
and he's against the tree, and he just comes out knife to the neck.
That was cool.
It's really cool. And I think I want to figure out who stole it from whom, but it's from Predator too.
Yeah. And it looks like Predator, the whole movie does, but literally 1 second after he stabs that dude, there's not one single speck of mud on his body at all.
Yeah, he's completely cleaned.
He within 5 seconds covered himself in mud and turned into a tree. And then 5 seconds later, Stallone's back.
Or does he jump? He jumps over a waterfall though. Maybe that's how he cleans himself.
when the explosion happens,
I don't
when
know.
he dives,
It was burned off.
With
the napalm or whatever.
The mud was burned
Yes.
off of his body.
Yes.
So he could see his glistening
It protected him from the
muscles.
explosion.
Yeah.
insulated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about before we give our ratings? Did we miss anything? Did we not say our piece?
As weird as this is, we watched the third one today. Spoiler alert, we're doing a series. If I hadn't seen Rambo 3 today, I wouldn't have realized how absolutely terrible Rambo 2 is in comparison.
Rambo 3's great.
Yeah, we watched Rambo 1. Rambo 2 was just an excellent pick it up and run with it and kind of develop the series. It was cool. And then when we watched Rambo 3, I'm like, oh my gosh, could they have done this last time? This was amazing.
Rambo 2 feels like the made-for-TV version of Rambo, and then it's like, hey, we should make a real movie out of this, and then they made Rambo 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of scenes that felt like an A-team episode.
Yeah.
That was like,
Yeah.
like they had a little more budget for this
The
episode.
production value was really not there. Like I don't
It
know.
was at the end when they had like the whole little town village built.
Oh yeah.
that part
Tons
was
of
cool.
huge real explosions. So the last 30 minutes had a lot of production value, but the first part almost zero.
Yeah. And
Remember which movie was it with the satellite camera?
The second one, the beginning of the second one.
Oh yeah, it was so.
It's
huge.
like an actual
It's so
camera.
fake.
But it's like the circumference of a basketball.
Right.
Bigger, maybe.
Bigger.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And that little door opens that they probably just were pulling a string
Yeah.
to like move it. It doesn't look real at all.
And Rambo looks at the camera like, this is what we're doing. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, and yeah.
That was pretty good. Anything? That was such a long pause. Anything else? I want your
You
ra-
should still watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to watch it.
You have to watch
it's what Star Wars Episode 1 is to the Star Wars franchise. Rambo.
This
First
is not
Blood Part
nearly
2.
as good as the first episodes of Star Wars, but it is what it is to that franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the one you have to sit through just
It
because.
did. You don't get the necklace. There, he doesn't meet that lady. He really becomes Rambo in this movie. You got to watch it, but it wasn't well done.
We forgot to talk about the weird still frame ending where
Or that he just walks. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do, Rambo? And he just walks around and just turns around and walks away, and then it cuts. Or it
They don't
stops.
say where
there's
he's
a
at.
freeze frame.
We had kind of decided that the forwarding base, was in the country they were in. So then he ends up there.
He's in Vietnam.
And he literally just walks away from any way of leaving the country out into the jungles. That's the end of the movie.
There was supposedly a different alternate ending where he cries and has this moment similar to the first movie, and then they cut from there when he's like having this like well,
Does he die in those deleted scenes?
no, they knew after the first one that they needed to.
Yeah, the name, bro.
he has
He
to
changed
live
the name to that
forever now.
ridiculous
Yeah.
thing just for the third
I mean,
one.
he can't die. Even if he dies, he's not dead.
It was a dream.
Yeah. Well, I give this a medium
I
bucket.
know it.
Yeah, I know you stole it out of my mouth, but that sounded really gross. Medium
Wouldn't be the
bucket.
first time.
A medium bucket is 3 out of 5. That's what I give it.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your rating scale? And what do you rate it, Dr. Dare?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Okay.
And I think if you aren't a fan of Rambo movies
Yeah.
and you're not watching them in a series, it might be like a 1 or a 2. I mean, if you don't like Rambo, this movie is shitty. It's
Yeah.
just
It's
worthless.
It's
no
like
plot.
a 2.5 out of 5 for me. Like as a movie on its own, it's really pretty
you're
bad.
abandoning your carrots.
I never really
scale.
How many blue
developed,
diamonds?
Oh,
I
yeah.
never developed any of these things. I always came
7 Mountain
unprepared.
Dews, which
7
is not good.
All right, there you have it. Rambo, First Blood, Part 2 from 1985. As always, hit me up on the Twitters if you want to interact with the great Popcorn Priest, at Popcorn Priest. I respond to every tweet. Next week, no surprise, we're continuing our breakdowns of the Rambo series with Rambo 3. Yes! Also, in conjunction with this release, I've created a Patreon account. If you've liked anything up to this point and want to throw a few shekels at the priest, please do so if you feel so inclined at patreon.com/popcornpriest. And as always, thanks for listening. This has been Should You Watch This with the Popcorn Priest. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.